Hello.
Oh wow.
Okay, who's going to do an intro? Because this is the first stream.
Well,
Well, essentially, we can leave it to Dennis, maybe.
okay. Hey everybody, this is RTFM Radio. Brand new podcasting show for all you tech heads and gamers and geeks and everything out there. We're going to be doing this on a Sunday, usually 3 till 5, but this weekend it had to be 3:30 till 5. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say. What about you guys? Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Ewan, and as you can see, I'm on the bottom right of the screen. Yep, and yeah, I game.
That's a great introduction you have there.
That's really bad, but
That
yeah.
was really long, actually. You
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Man, that was
One
that
to
was,
you,
that was
one
so
to you
heartwarming.
guys.
Okay, so I'm Tom. I'm next to Dennis and Kieran, between Dennis and Kieran. Not really much about me. Just a bit boring, really.
You drum. What are your hobbies?
I do
you
drum.
don't
I do
game
drum.
much.
Yes. I don't really game much, but I'm going to be getting into gaming. Quite a tech nerd, but you'll be hearing all about that pretty soon. Yeah, pretty much on to Kieran now.
Hey guys, Kieran here. I'm a guitarist, so self-taught. I'm into computing, kind of, and I'm a wannabe computer engineer. Currently studying networking and system support at college. And today I'll be talking about graphics cards and processors. Really, that's about it.
Wow, that's the best one. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, so hey, I'm Dennis. I'm the one on the far left. I am a 16-year-old from Northampton that does system support, level 3 IT at Northampton College with these guys. My dream is to become a radio presenter, but if that doesn't go through, then I'd be a system support person. For my hobbies, I enjoy computer gaming, shopping, like looking for computer stuff and all that. I don't know why, I just enjoy doing
You
that.
woman.
Nah, yeah, I'm a woman when it comes to tech. That, gymnastics, trampolining, and ice hockey, pretty much. And, yeah, that's me done.
I was going to say you do womenly sports until you said ice hockey, and I was thinking,
Yeah.
change my mind.
Yeah. But I get that too much. Okay, alright, should we move on to the first subject, guys?
Okie dokie.
Go for it.
Alright,
Sure.
Kieran, on to you.
Okay, so I'll take over from here. Today I'm going to be talking about two subjects. The first subject is going to be about NVIDIA's new GTX 800 line, which is a step up from the 700 line we're currently on. And the new NVIDIA 800 line is basically, it's officially announced and it's available for pre-order for the mobile version, so we're talking about laptop graphics here. And the rumour has it that they'll be releasing it for desktop as well. So what's your thoughts about a new generation of NVIDIA graphics cards, guys?
I think that's
I think
pretty
it's a very good
badass,
idea.
but I feel like they bring out graphics really, really, really often.
Yeah, like
Graphics cards, I mean.
you get a new graphics card. Like, I got my graphics card a year ago, which is a 670, and it's a bit out of date, but it still runs well, and it feels like it's already really late now. I mean, because of the new 800 line that's already been announced.
Yeah, but tech does move quite fast.
Okay,
You
so
know.
what's going to be the difference between this and something else that's already been released? Like,
Well,
what
first of
makes
all-
it so good?
The 800 series has a new architecture. It's working on a new architecture called the Kepler and Maxwell, which is basically their code names for the cores. And that's going to be a big step up for mobile processing when it comes to graphics. It's
Okay.
also going to help for battery as well, because it's going to boost battery life with the efficiency of power rating. It's going to be, apparently, they're going to be naming it a bit differently, so we're going to have we could have an 850M, 860M, 870M, 880M, which is basically the same naming system, but we don't know how it's going to be named for like desktop graphics yet. It might be named the same, it might be named different. Like you might have a like 875M or something stupid like that. We don't know yet because it's only rumours about desktops. But yeah, all we know is that it's officially been announced and it's available for pre-order with things like that.
What's the
Okay.
price?
The dates I don't think we actually know yet for the mobile processing. It's just pre-ordered. It's available for pre-order. We don't actually know when it will be delivered. At least I don't know anyway. I haven't looked into that yet.
Oh, okay.
We essentially have no details on the desktop graphics either. That's basically dark. That's dark area.
Okay, so you were talking about the mobile version of the graphics card. So this is going to be quite easy on battery life, yeah?
Yeah, which that's what they say. It will be easier. I don't know whether it will be quite easy, like standard on battery life, but it'll be easier than the previous generations. That's what they say.
Okay, so surely if it was like a power supply in a computer, you're gonna have a certain wattage of an output that you're gonna need to put into this
Yeah, but
graphics card.
they say that the graphics card, like I said, we don't know anything about the graphics card yet, but I'm assuming that it will manage the power efficiency better.
Okay.
But I'm going to put a link in the chat for you guys. Dennis, if you'd like to view that, it will show you about the benchmark ratings. So if you look at the images, you will notice that it is 60% faster than the 700 M baseline. So it's 60% faster than the 700 series mobile graphics. Obviously, that can vary in different benchmark situations, but that's a huge improvement over the 700 series.
That's massive.
Like, that's going to be big for like laptop gaming. Laptop gaming is seeing a good boost here. However, I don't think we even know about price. I think we're looking at I don't know, how much are we looking at here? We'll probably be looking at about 200, maybe like 190, 200, maybe 250, maybe depending on the like brand.
This is looking quite affordable for graphics cards. Something that's got a lot of power to it as well. This is looking quite affordable.
Definitely. I don't know how they're going to do the pricing scaling. I just made an assessment there. But all I know is that it's definitely going to take advantage of new technologies. It's going to be taking advantage of the new NVIDIA Shadow Play, which allows you to record using the GPU rather than your CPU. And that's a big step up for recording as well, because usually if you've got a pretty rubbish processor, then you can't really record it as well, and it'll lag. But if you've got a good graphics card that takes advantage with a new architecture, such as the new 800 series, you're going to be recording your games at a lot higher frame rates, a lot easier, and it's going to be just better, really, for recording games.
That sounds like an amazing bit of technology, Shadow Play. I mean, like, I do a bit of YouTube here and there, but like recording with the CPU can really dawn on the more demanding games. For example, Call of Duty Ghost or Titanfall, they really do thrash down on your CPU, and it does, like, having Shadow Play will make a massive difference.
According to another source, the GTX 800 line has been confirmed for the first quarter of 2014. That means they're probably pretty close. I don't know whether this is like a positive source, but if that's so, then that means we'll be looking at orders and like pre-orders like really damn soon. So that's good. I definitely am looking forward to that.
Okay.
So what's your opinion on this, guys? You going to be rushing out and buying out a 800 series, or are you going to wait for this one?
Well,
I'll probably wait a little bit.
Something that I've realised with Nvidia is a lot of their cards are quite expensive, so... And I'm happy with what I've got now. I mean, like, this runs everything I want to run, so... this would be something that would probably be in the future.
Games these days, like, to run the actual games, you don't need actually that much of a very graphics card. You only need to run about a reasonable priced one, and then like a couple of years, or not a couple of years time, but about a year's time, when the games do need these type of graphics, then these graphics cards will be cheaper. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit sudden of Nvidia, the whole 800 series. I thought they'd leave it till a little bit longer, but I guess in terms of technology, it's not too sudden. We're talking about a year's gap here, a year and a half perhaps, between the 700 and the 800 line. But the fact that they've announced it, or like, revealed it for the mobile first rather than desktop, is a bit strange. It's probably me being paranoid, but I just think that's a bit weird.
Okay, so something I'm curious about is we all know that graphics cards get hot. Especially in something like a laptop, how are we going to control the cooling and stuff like that? Because
that's probably something they would have worked on with any generation. Yeah, like they've probably improved the thermal efficiency of the graphics card, meaning it won't get as hot. Obviously, if you've got a really like crappy sort of cooling solution for your graphics,
bed.
like covered up with something stupid, then obviously it's going to be stupid and it's going to get like hot. But if you've got a normal cooling solution for your laptop, like I don't know, stock or something, then it will be probably an improvement over the 700 series, because it's better thermal efficiency.
So with the thermal efficiency that we've probably got coming onto these mobile versions, you're not looking at any shorter of a lifespan than you would be on a desktop graphics card.
You're probably looking at about the same lifespan, really. I mean, I don't really know. They say it's a new architecture, but Nvidia have been known to sort of just keep the same architecture as before, and then just give it a new brand. I mean, a lot of companies do that, but like I said, I don't know. I don't know much about the desktop line. All I know is that the laptop line is what Nvidia are revealing now and are allowing for pre-order now. So that's definitely something. I think that's something to consider as well. The lifetime of the processor.
Have Nvidia released sort of stuff like this before with mobile versions of their cards?
What do you mean? Like they have released mobile versions of cards? Yes. In fact, they've
They have
released basically like most of their graphics cards have mobile counterparts.
Okay.
Which is interesting because the mobile counterparts are mostly like they are weaker. Say you took a GTX 760M and compared it to a 760 desktop, the 760 desktop would absolutely destroy the M version. But
Okay.
that is debatable. Some people say it doesn't. Some people say it does. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. That's definitely something to think about. I think the lifetime of the graphics cards is going to be interesting because I don't mean like physical lifetime. I mean actual like when's it going to come out? When's the next line going to come out? You know, when are you going to buy an 800 series and then before you know, Nvidia's like, oh, the 900 series. Here you go, guys, brand new. Go buy it. Everything else is rubbish. You know.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
we've got a lot to look forward to, though.
Well, yeah. Gaming is going
Yeah.
to see some graphical improvements, definitely. Some performance improvements. Heck, we might even see some new Nvidia. You know, stuff like shadow play and some new applications that help gamers and recorders and, you know, all this kind of stuff.
This is going to drain my bank balance, I know it. Oh my god.
Well, I'm not going to be getting it anytime soon. I'm just going to stick on my 670 because it's on the same level as a 760. Well, that's what they say anyway. But yeah, I'm okay with my graphics for the moment. But if they do an affordable graphics card with this 800 line, I'm sure people will be drawn to it. I mean, Nvidia recently put out the 750 Ti, which is pretty new for them, which is the 700 series
quite
with
good.
affordable. Because I'm pretty sure you have a 650, don't you? Is it 550?
No.
Do you have a 550? No, not you, Ewan. Tom, sorry.
Tom has
yeah,
six-
Tom, you have a
560 Ti.
Yeah.
I've got the 560 Ti.
yeah, and that serves you pretty well, doesn't it? That's considered
Yeah,
the
I haven't really
500
strained it that
series
much
is
yet,
sort of-
but I've got it. You know, it does what I need it to.
That's considered sort of a sort of budget gaming card, if that makes sense. It's not
Yeah, yeah.
higher up on the line, but it still does the job. And if the 800 series has something like that, which I guess it will, I assume it will, then people will probably go out and buy that if they want a better graphics solution or what they've got is currently a bit cruddy, you know. They will go out and buy that because it's a newer line. It's the newest Nvidia line, and it's going to probably perform them decently, especially with the new improvements, the architectures.
Okay.
So that's all I wanted to really put in for that subject. That's something to look forward to. Like I said, not much detail on the desktop graphics cards, but we do have some details on the mobile versions. And as you can see from the picture on the screen, they're putting some pretty beefy performance increases into it. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's always good for gaming.
But like back
Okay.
to the like laptop graphics card thing.
Yeah.
Is laptop gaming laptops like a massive market? I thought it was going down quite a bit.
It's debatable because people still want, you know, they still want a good, decent gaming laptop. People still out there will want that kind of thing. You know, people can burn that kind of money on it. You know, Origin PCs and all that.
Razer
People
blades.
people want mobile gaming. They want mobile gaming, and they want to be able to like game on the go. You know, if you're on holiday, you want to bring a laptop. You don't want to bring a fat tower. Just bring it with you.
That's a
But
good
yeah,
point.
people still want desktop gaming and laptop gaming as well. Laptop gaming isn't out of the question. It's just more for the experience.
Except, yeah, it's quite. Whenever it comes to a laptop, it's really hard to upgrade those. So whenever you're buying it, you're gonna have to buy it with it already pre-made, which is
Yeah,
gonna be
definitely.
quite expensive.
And the good
But-
ones tend to have a brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll. I mean, Dennis, what's your opinion on the new line?
Well, I don't know. I think that it will be expensive, and it will definitely be very, very, very good performance. I mean, that they will outperform all the current games that are out. Like, for example, Crisis 3, one of the most demanding games out there. This will just completely thrash it. But it will definitely make your computer more future-proof and all that stuff. But I think it's just going to be expensive. I mean, unless they have one of those budget cards, like the 750 Ti, which is just really good for its price. I mean, geez, like... Yeah, that's just my opinion.
The 750 Ti was pretty decent. In fact, it still is pretty decent, especially for your if you're looking for a budget card.
Yeah.
But okay, next we're going to go on to AMD. Now, AMD are sort of in this war as well. In fact, they definitely are. They've released the new the R9 and the R7 series, which isn't really new news. It's been around for a few months, but either way, they're still big competitors in the graphics card scene. They're
Kieran?
like, yeah,
Did you have a link for me?
yes, I do. I will give you one in a second once I finish talking. But yeah, the
Cheers.
AMD's recent line of the R9, like 270 to 260 and all that, they have their own budget cards as well. But the biggest one of all is AMD's price affordability. AMD are known for their price to performance ratio. That's exactly what they do with their processors as well, but that's a different debate I'll go on to later. They like to sort of release some interesting cards. Put a link now. So if you take a look at that, that'll give you a good new view on one of their pretty recent cards, which is it's a bit overkill, but it gets straight to the point of what I want to say. The AMD are still in this fight. They're not wimpy by any means. This isn't an Nvidia our supreme kind of thing, and I'm not biased towards Nvidia. I think both sides are fighting each other, but especially when it comes to AMD, AMD are bringing out some big technologies which is going to help people with less powerful hardware. I mean, I don't know if you've heard of the AMD Mantle technology. Any of you heard of that?
Yeah. Pretty
Essentially,
awesome.
that's something that AMD are gonna wave in Nvidia's face and be like, haha, we've got this. We can, boost people's frames by like, I don't know, 100 or something. And what can you guys do? And we're waiting sort of Nvidia to bring out their weapon. And I think I'm a bit disappointed that Nvidia are whipping out Titans left, right, and centre. That's a bit annoying. But I'm sure they'll bring out something that will make AMD think, well, hang on, let's change our direction here. I mean, if you scroll down that link, you will notice that the DirectX 11 performance it's ridiculous. It's good. It's good for the resolutions that they run it in, and the thermal performance is just, out of this world. I mean, that's probably because it's water cooled, but still, AMD are still making Nvidia think about their options. But like I said, I don't like the fact that Nvidia is whipping out Titans, but I think it's a good choice because they are going down the more budget line now, Nvidia, as well.
Yeah.
They're bringing out fat cards, but I suppose, and that's another good point from Larval Extract in the chat. They're also talking about new mid-range additions to the family, so the 260, the 265, the 250, and the 230. Those are the more budget cards from AMD. Now, I'm not sure, does anyone here sort of like AMD? Tom,
Yeah.
Ewan?
I like them.
I
Although
like it. I've rather preferred GeForce though.
Yeah. I suppose everyone thinks NVIDIA are more powerful, but AMD are still powerful as well. Just depends
Yeah,
on your usage.
especially if you also have a AMD processor.
I mean, the new. Well, I don't think it's new, but the 260, the 265, and the 250X, they are the weaker cards of AMD's new line. So it's AMD's new line, but they're weaker. I mean, obviously you guys know that just because it's new, it doesn't mean it's good. I used to think that. I used to think, oh, it's newer, it's better. It's better than anything else I've ever done. But I then realised that they have different budget lines. They want to cater to everyone.
I'm not really that knowledgeable about AMD themselves. I mean, I know they do like stuff like that, what you've said about, but I mean, if I was to go for a card that I want to be able to game on, where would I be looking to go? I'm looking for a budget card as
AMD's
well.
line, you'd probably be looking at either the previous generation, which is the 7870s, so that's the non-R line, or you'd want to go with the or obviously the budget new line card, so the R7 260 or something like that, or the R9 260, or basically what Larval Extract said in the chat. So we look at the 260, 265, and 250, 230. Those are the kind of low-end budget cards you want to go for if you're obviously struggling for money and you want to get a graphics card that's better than your integrated. But that's the point. It's better than your integrated. It's still not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
What
better
about
than your
Dennis's
integrated that allows
card?
you to play games.
Pardon?
What about Dennis's card? Because his is a
7.
Dennis's
Radeon,
card
isn't it?
is last generation, but best one. Well, best that I know of anyway. There's probably better overclock ones out there. But Dennis, you have a 7970, correct?
Yeah.
That was last generation. It's still relevant. People still have a lot of the last generation cards. But how well they stand up to the 290 and the 260, and obviously the 260 is a low-end budget card. So I think the 7970 would actually take a dump on the 260. But the 7970. It's how well it stands up to AMD's new line, and that's what I'm definitely interested in, because I've always liked AMD's cards. I've had them for a short time, and even though I've never had any powerful ones, I do like how they manage their they're good with the performance, I think, for the price, and that's what I like about AMD. So as you can see, Dennis, you're currently looking at the specs and the benchmarks of Battlefield 4 and all that.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Game developers are taking advantage of new lines of graphics cards. So you'll notice that Battlefield 4 was highly biased towards AMD's new line of cards. So the 270, the 270X, the 290, and all that stuff like that. And you didn't see a Nvidia card in sight when it came to advertising for Battlefield. That was another thing. game developers are using them to their advantage now, and that's going to affect how people are going to buy these cards. I mean, it's all well and good at the end of the day if you prefer one or another, but if the card's good, does it really matter who the who the company is? If the card can play above like 70 frames or 60 frames on a game Ultra, does it really matter if your card has a green seal of Nvidia or with a red seal of AMD? That's what I'm questioning here. You know,
That's a good point.
I mean, if you were to take Battlefield 4 and card of the similar spec of an AMD card, I think the AMD would win either way because it's optimized for AMD. You know, the developers have said, okay, we want to target this towards AMD, we'll optimize it towards AMD. And you see that in a lot of games where the performance is so biased towards a different card and a different manufacturer. But, you know, I think that's an interesting topic, and I wanted to like discuss my opinions on that.
The way that game developers bias their games towards different type of cards and stuff, I feel like that's a bit unfair.
Yeah, but that's marketing, and I think I've always thought that's unfair because I've had different graphics cards in the past, and I've had different games which would say optimized for Nvidia or optimized for AMD or something like that. And I'd have an Nvidia card, and I'd be like, yeah, this game is gonna run lag free and all that stuff, and I'd go on the game and it'd be like, okay, this is lagging. This is like you said optimized, but optimized is it's subjectable. It depends on the card you have.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to talk about here. So I think I'm going to move on to the next topic here. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Go for it, man.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so next topic is about Intel and AMD. Now, obviously, AMD are still in this because they do processor lines. So what I'm going to discuss first is I'm going to send you a link in a minute, Dennis. But first of all, I'm going to discuss Intel's multiple generations and old generations of their processors versus the new ones, and also how they line up with AMD. Because obviously, again, AMD are going for the more affordable option here. They're bringing out like 10 core, not 10 core, like I think it was like 16 core processors. They've announced those or something, and they currently have 8 core and 6 core processors, and obviously quad cores and dual cores. But the 8 cores, you think, wow, that's pretty beefy, right? You think, wow, you mean you can play anything with those? But
Yeah.
the thing is, my current processor is an Intel. Okay, it's an Intel Core 2 quad, and it's pretty old, 2007. End of 2006, start 2007.
Do you want to compare it to mine?
Okay, you have a 6300, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a AMD 6300. That's a 6-core processor. Now,
Yep.
my single-core performance. So one of your cores versus one of my cores probably beats yours, but my processor's 7 years old. Now, if you overclock your processor, you're gonna beat mine, but that is bad news for AMD in my opinion, because that means that Intel are still ahead of the game when it comes to architecture performance in processors. Intel have the best processors out there. I'm not saying that to be biased. It's an objective fact. Intel have the best processors out there. They have the most beef. They have the most performance. However, in multi-core, that's debatable because they have the extreme line of processors. Like, I'll send you a link now, Dennis, and this is going to be pretty interesting for you. This is from eBuyer. This is an eBuyer link.
Okay.
This is a link to the i7 3970 Extreme Edition. Now, this processor, it destroys everything in its wake. Like, literally, it has 6 cores and 12 threads. Now,
My.
that would probably step all over an 8-core AMD. In fact, I know it will. Now, you might have more cores. AMD are winning in terms of the core, like here, the amount of cores they have, but Intel still have the best processors. But have you seen the price of that, Dennis? Are you currently looking at the price of that?
£771.50.
Who in the right mind's going to buy that just to
Oh
play
man,
some
that's just
games?
pocket cash. I mean, jeez.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. I wipe my bum with that. Every time I go to the toilet. But it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm still running on 7-year-old hardware, but I have a new graphics card, so that's all good. And I can still run games fine. Sometimes I feel the stress with the old processor, like sometimes it shows, but I can still run things fine on my 7-year-old hardware. So
And then
why
there's
the
me,
heck?
who's the complete opposite, who can't. But
Yep,
yeah,
but that's different, Ewan, because you need a decent processor. I mean, you need a decent graphics card to play games.
yeah, it's not all about. If you have every single thing in your computer that is good besides one thing, then it won't be as good. But you need to have everything in equal. How would you say it?
Specs.
Yeah, equal specs. Otherwise, because you can just get a better better computer that way than like mine.
I'm going to send you another link now, Dennis, to an AMD processor.
Okay.
Now, I was actually thinking of getting this one, and then because of fate, something horrible happened and I goofed up. That's another story I'll save for another day. I'm sure some of the people watching will know about that. But that processor is the FX8320. It is a Black Edition 8-core processor with 3.5 to 4 gigahertz, 8 megabytes cache. Now, this processor has 8 cores, so you're immediately going to think, wow, this is going to handle things pretty well.
Yeah,
but
that was my immediate thought.
every one of those cores is at, like, all 8 of those cores are pretty bad in terms of, like, specs. If you don't have a game that takes advantage of all of those cores, you're going to be disappointed with the performance. But look at the price. Who can argue with £104 price? No one can. That's a
pretty
great,
damn good.
That's great, performance to price ratio, and that is exactly why people love AMD. It's why people don't care about Intel even if they're better. People are going with AMD more and more with processors now because they're affordable.
That's the sort of thing, you know, you're looking to get like that sort of one that's on screen now, you know, for the same sort of price of an i5.
Exactly.
You know, with an i5 will game, but you know, that's 8 cores.
And I think that's definitely important in the AMD versus Intel war, because Intel have the better processors.
Big competitor.
Intel have the better processors, no doubt about that. They have the better specs, but their price as well. Your wallet's going to complain at the end of the day. And are you really going to want that extra like 60 frames when you're already running above 60 with an AMD processor? And obviously the AMD's new line of graphics cards, they like to bring out overclocked versions of their graphics cards, like rather than new versions. I'm going to send you another link in a second, Dennis, of the exact same processor line but with a different name on it.
Okie dokie.
And as far as I know, AMD are also getting into the processor and GPU all-in-one line. So that means a processor with a graphics chip built into it. So you don't really need a graphics card. But they're actually pretty weak as well, apparently. That's what they say.
Doesn't that put more stress on CPU as well?
I'm not sure about that. I think it does, because it relies on the CPU for the graphics performance as well. But it has integrated graphics options as well. So I'll just send you a link now to something interesting. But yeah, opinions, guys. AMD or Intel? What are you guys thinking right now?
Well, AMD, it's the same with graphics cards in my opinion. They give you more for the buck, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Whereas with Intel, they are they're very powerful.
You're not going to go
very
wrong.
Strong. You can't go wrong. But the thing is, they're way more expensive. So if you're going for like more of a budget build that's gonna be able to do your average game, you're not going too far away. You're not there to be rendering videos or doing 3D modeling or anything. Then AMD is like perfect. Sort of thing. That's my opinion. Any of you guys?
AMD have more cores. If you have games that take advantage of those cores, pick an AMD. But that's the thing, though. Most games aren't taking advantage of all those cores nowadays. In fact, it's kind of a good thing that can take advantage of 4 cores. Never mind 6 or 8. Especially 8. I mean, the only game that I've seen that does that is Crysis 3 or the new Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4.
I think. Oh, I mean, it might sound really sad, but I've grown up with Intel processors. So if you want a budget card with a lot of power, AMD is definitely the way to go. But I mean, it depends of what you're using the computer for. I mean, if you're using it for multitasking, the more cores probably the better. But you can't really argue with something like an i7 processor, which has got a tremendous amount of power, but depends it's going to cost you the earth.
Exactly, and that's where AMD have the advantage. They have a line that doesn't cost as much.
Yeah, and
they
how
have
they
that
do it,
consumer advantage. They have that consumer advantage, and obviously people think Intel best, and then people think AMD one step down, better price.
Intel have got a better name for themselves, and we don't know why, but they seem to be like the posher, or not posher, but the more extravagant processors out of the two. If that makes sense.
Yep, they definitely have the more beefy line, but AMD are actually they could take this back from Intel pretty fast in terms of this war between their processor lines, because AMD are going to bring out more and more cores, and they're going to go for more innovative options. Whereas Intel, I'm not sure what direction Intel are going to take, like at all. They could take a bad direction. They could take a good direction. Games could take a bad direction as well. Like for all we know, games could just say, okay, you know what? Never mind your 8 cores. I'll just stick with Intel's 4 or Intel's 6 maybe in the future. And that's going to be a terrible thing for AMD. And I think especially like, has any of you guys considered buying an AMD processor?
Since I got an AMD graphics card, yes.
That's the thing. AMD, I think AMD brought out ATI. ATI made the graphics cards that we currently see with AMD today. So we're talking about the Radeon. The Radeon series, well known. I used to have like 3 of them or something, and the Radeon was ATI's like flagship graphics card line, and we're talking 2004, 2005. You know, older generation stuff, like quite old generation. And now ATI and AMD have merged together, and suddenly they're making processors like together. Like what's going on?
I know. I think they've got a lot of power, a lot of things that they can bring out.
Guys.
So, yep.
Larval says, why don't we talk about Broadwell/Haswell refresh and AMD's halt on high-end CPUs in favour of APUs?
Yeah, that's what I was touching upon earlier, Larval, that AMD are sort of halting on their high-end CPUs and going for APUs, which is what I said earlier, the graphics integrated with the CPU, sorry. That means that they're going to, I'll send you a link now, in fact, but that means they're going to stop, we are noticing a pattern where they're stopping developing high-end processors, and they're going for processors with integrated graphics in them. Now, Intel already do this in a way. They already, if you don't have a graphics card, Intel's new recent line of CPUs, they actually integrate graphics for you, but it's bad. It's really bad graphics. Like you couldn't run decent games with it at all. Like you can't even run like mediocre games with it. But AMD's new solution might help that. So I'll send you a link now, Dennis, and
okay.
It's an interesting argument because these processors, they're pretty decent. They're not high end. Like I said, they're dropping the high end and going for the family affordable option, but they're pretty decent for their price. And once again, AMD are in the price area because AMD have the better prices. It's just a fact. If you want to get a processor that costs the same as an AMD 8-core but an Intel line, Intel's is going to probably be worse than the AMD because of the fact that they like to ramp their prices up.
So wait,
yeah,
no, carry on.
You continue?
Alright, okay. So imagine for games that are more CPU dependent, for example World of Warcraft, what would you recommend then, a Intel or an AMD?
Intel, because actually that's a good argument, because it depends if the game is multi-threaded. Multi-threaded means that it takes advantage of all the cores you have in your computer. If the game is multi-threaded, you're probably going to want to go with an AMD, because they probably have more cores.
So
AMD will have more cores.
What do we mean? So multi-threaded. So get an example of a multi-threaded game would be what like?
Crisis 3, a new generation game, Battlefield 4, Crisis 3, stuff like that. They're going to take advantage of more cores. They're going to like an AMD because an AMD will have 6 to 8 cores. Obviously, if you have those lines.
So this 8-core processor that we had on screen, that's the more cores you have, the easier this is going to run, or the smoother this is going to run. If it's a multi-threaded game.
If it's a multi-threaded game, it's going to imagine this. Imagine having like a four-wheel drive car. Imagine having like a four-wheel drive car. It's going to handle more steeper terrain better. It's going to handle more rubbish terrain, all that kind of thing like that. It's going to handle that better. But is it going to go faster? Is it going to drive as fast as a two-wheel drive car that's a high-spec car? It depends your use. It depends what you're playing. It depends what you're going to play, how many cores it takes advantage of, and all that kind of stuff like that. Grubscrew says in the chat. Continue.
I'm sorry. You carry on.
Okay, Grubscrew says in the chat, Iris Pro is set to contend with AMD's APUs. Whether or not that will happen is a debatable thing, but they're getting a lot better. I can't really say I've heard of the Iris Pro. Let me just Google that now. But I think I have heard of it. It's Intel's, it's Intel's integrated solution, isn't it? So, yeah, Intel's Iris Pro is like a sort of... it's basically Intel's solution to AMD's APUs. Like APUs being what we just looked at, the graphics and CPU all in one. And obviously AMD are decent for the price, fact they're the best for the price, but Intel are sort of like, they're thinking, okay, we don't want AMD to take this from us, we want to get the market shares here. So obviously they're going to build something that contends to AMD's APUs, and Intel's Iris Pro is their solution. Now, I'm not really sure about this. I haven't looked into Intel's APU solution, but all I know is that it's gonna be a step up from Intel's integrated graphics solution, which is the Intel HD graphics. Essentially, this is going to be an interesting war between two companies who build the same thing, except AMD are going to go for the price, Intel are going to go for the performance. But that doesn't mean Intel aren't going to build affordable options, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, what processors do you guys have here? Dennis, start with you.
I have a i5 3570, not the K.
Exactly. And what do you notice about that, Dennis? What do you just explained it? You don't
There's
have the
no
K
K.
version. Exactly. And what does that mean you can't do?
Means I can't. Is it multi-threading or something
No,
like that?
you
I
can't
can't
overclock.
without because there's no multi-threading or something like
Yeah. You cannot overclock your processor. Now, how much did that processor cost you, Dennis?
that. 130 something, 130 something.
Exactly. Now, take an AMD 8-core. It's unlocked. It's come standard unlocked. You can do what the heck you want with that. AMD don't care. But Intel are more imposing on the limits. Now, if you want to go out and buy, I don't know, an overclockable version of your current processor, Dennis, it's going to cost you a bit more. And by a bit, I mean we're talking about a good lump sum of money here, extra. And it makes you think, is that really worth it just for a letter and an overclocking ability? You know, I mean, you might be happy with the performance, but you might want to overclock it. And that's the thing. That's the
Why
debatable
would you
thing.
need to overclock something if you're already happy with the performance?
It's sort of, if you have the know-how to overclock, it's free performance. It's extra bang for
Yeah,
your
but
buck.
then you've also got to have the right type of fans and all that type of stuff, the airflow, but otherwise it's just going to overheat.
Because we all know that if you know, with overclocking you come heat, and with heat you reduce the lifespan of the hardware.
Yeah, it's going to ruin the
The light
graphics
But if you
burns
card.
have
twice
nice
as bright.
cooling, it shouldn't be affected too much.
I mean, the saying is the light that burns twice as bright burns twice as long. I mean, something like that. I don't
Okay,
know.
so put
I
it
sort
this
of-
Yeah,
way.
but there's only
Would
one problem
you-
with that.
If would you buy a second-hand piece of hardware that you know had been overclocked?
No, I wouldn't.
No, there we are.
Yeah,
And
because it could
because
be
you don't
ruined.
know that, you know, who's been, you know, if it's been cool, because you know you want to make sure that if you are overclocking, that you've got the right amount of cooling, that you're not going to absolutely destroy your hardware. You know, am I right in saying that?
Yes, but you're buying these processors brand new. They just have the ability to overclock. That's the thing. You're not buying them second-hand. But if you are buying them second-hand, that's a perfectly good argument. You don't want to buy something that someone's probably like put their eggs on or something because it's so hot.
But if you're gonna go out and buy a
Ewan's
processor
PC.
like I did, I went out
No,
and bought
your
the.
computer, Tom.
Wait, what's this?
You were ripping
Ooh,
me
it's-
with
You're
people.
saying that
You and
mine was the
Bastion's
hottest
PC.
one. Mine isn't the hottest one. Tom's
It used
is the
to be the
hottest
hottest.
computer.
Now Tom's is the hottest because he now has a graphics
Yeah.
card.
I'm getting my new
Thank
case.
you.
Graphics cards tend to get warm though, Ewan.
Yeah, I know. I do have a graphics
I mean, mine's
card.
probably hotter than
but
yours when I
mine
start
isn't that
playing
hot.
games.
Yeah. So that's another thing I wanted to round about this debate without taking too long is who is going to be favouring AMD or who is going to be favouring Intel in this thing.
Still
Now,
an Intel
having-
fanboy.
I'll
having-
probably do Intel.
Having looked at that 8-core processor for the price that it was, you know what? I'd probably buy that. But the thing is, I'm happy with my i5, and you know I'm not going to be changing that anytime soon. So, I mean, if I was to buy a new processor, I'd definitely, you know, seriously consider that 8-core one. But until then, I don't think I'd need to.
I mean,
So I'm happy with my Intel.
One last thing before we move on to a different subject with another speaker is that I wanted to talk about a little bit about previous generation hardware in terms of AMD and Intel and new generation hardware. I mean, I'm going to send you a link now, Dennis, and I'm sure this is going to bring back either some memories or some like some stuff like that. Now, this processor was the flagship of Intel. Once upon a time. This was before that multi-threading was a thing. This is before you had like
Pentium.
I don't know. Yeah. This is before you had like 4 cores or quad core or dual core even. Intel's Pentium 4, without a doubt, was the flagship. It was a workhorse, and it brought about new technologies. It brought about hyper-threading. I don't think that existed before Intel Pentium 4. I mean, I had one. And I loved it. It got me around my games perfectly, and the games back then weren't as demanding as they are now. And then now I'm going to compare it to a more newer generation Intel processor, which is the one I have. get the link now. Which is the Intel Core 2 Quad. I have an Intel Core 2 Quad. I've overclocked the hell out of it. I'm not gonna lie, because the stock performance is pretty meh. But the processor itself is from 2006, 2007. But it performs me okay in games. That's the thing. And I think it's reached the end of its life, but it still plays my games fine. And while I can feel the performance lacks in some places sometimes, it still gets me along. You know, I don't see a need to go out and buy an Intel or an AMD 8-core or something new technology if it's getting me along fine. You know.
Yeah,
in fact,
it's good.
this processor I linked to, the Core 2 Quad, at the moment mine reaches the same around the same area as an 8-core AMD in terms of single-threaded performance. So that's core for core performance. Only because I've overclocked it, obviously, and only because I've gone really overboard with the overclocking. But it still gets there, and it makes you think: do I really want to buy an AMD processor or an Intel, where I know that no old processor is going to catch up with an Intel? And that's the important fact here, and I think that's going to, sort of keep me on my toes when it comes to buying a new processor. And one more link as well, because it wouldn't be fair to talk about Intel's old quad cores without AMD's. So I'm going to talk about a well-known line in AMD. I'm sure one of you here will at least know it, which is the AMD Phenom 2 AMD Phenom processors, basically. Now, the AMD Phenoms were AMD's answer to quad-core technology that rivaled Intel, and their price, again, would you guess it, was probably the best out of all of them. Now, Dennis, if you take a scroll through here on this link, you will notice immediately that the prices, even though it's eBay, I know it's not brand new, but the prices for these processors are like, they're dirt cheap. Some brand new, some used. Now, this processor, overclocked, will match the performance core for core, probably around the same as an 8-core you see today, an AMD 8-core. Now, doesn't that say something? Doesn't that say that not necessarily old technology is bad?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Exactly.
No.
That means if AMD's Phenom 2 line can catch up with the AMD FX 8000 line, which is meant to be the newer line, then what does that say for AMD? Is that going to affect people's choice when buying AMD or Intel? And I think that's an important topic. I mean, personally, I love the Phenom line. I've got a Phenom 2 dual core. I don't have a quad core Phenom, but I have a dual core Phenom. But I love the AMD processors, and I actually prefer them over Intel back then because they had more customizable options. It felt like the processor was yours, and when you were overclocking it, you had no limits. You had no limits. It was all yours. But with Intel, it felt a bit more limited. In fact, a lot of their processors were locked, so you couldn't overclock them. But AMD's were a good budget. So I think that rounds up my topic and debate for today about the whole graphics cards and CPU war. That's about it, really, for me.
AMD versus Intel.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
Who wants to go next? Tom or Ewan or me?
I honestly.
Ewan, want to talk
You want
about
me to go?
your...
I can go.
Right, we have a question in the chat. It
One of
says,
you guys
why are
first.
Intel processors so much more expensive than AMD for lower gigahertz? They're really that much better. If they're really that much better, why?
well, okay, let me answer this one to the best of my knowledge. Apparently, according to multiple benchmarks, Intel have the better performance because of the way they build their processors. The way they build their processors, every core is built well and is has better architecture and is faster than every core that AMD has built. What AMD has built is decent, but Intel's processors, they're just built to kick butt, basically. You know, they're just built decently. I think that's a decent answer to his question.
Very nice.
That's
Has anyone else in the chat got any more questions about this topic before we move on?
Nope. I'm not really that not knowledgeable when it comes to graphics cards or AMD.
But I
can
sure learned
just
a
ask
lot.
any
I sure learned a
investigator.
lot in the last 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was definitely enlightening. I'm gonna go with that. That's the right word, I think.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with that.
Nice choice of wording, dude.
No, thank you.
Okay, Ewan,
Okay,
do you
so,
want to start talking about your Oculus things? Or Tom, do you want to start talking about
Why?
your
What's Tom's?
I've got two topics, so I don't mind. I can do one now, one later. I honestly do not mind.
Let's do one now. Okay, what one do you want to talk about now then?
I'll do wearable tech now. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so
This will be good.
So Samsung and a lot of other competitors have just rolled out a new sort of line of wearable tech. Now this is definitely where the world is going. Wearable tech is has gone really big within the last year. A few weeks ago, Galaxy or not Galaxy and Gear had sort of separated and stuff like that. So now you used to have the Galaxy Gear 1. Now you've got stuff like the Gear 2 and the Gear 2 Neo, which is which is done by Samsung's their own operating system. Now they've separated from Android from this a bit. Now this is sort of taking out all the bugs that we've got from the first Galaxy Gear. Now they've moved the strap. It is a camera on the strap, which was not a very high megapixel camera, but enough to be able to to have a usage. They've moved that now from the strap onto the main device. So this is the main reason that you can make the strap changeable. You've also got stuff like the Sony Smartwatch 2, like it's on screen now, and that's going to be released. I think that's been released or it's to be released. Oh no, Sony Smartwatch 3 is to be released. That's being tipped sort of for the early 2014 release. This has sort of got this is removing the bugs from the Sony Smartwatch 2. The majority of these smartwatches I'm talking about are water resistant or waterproof. But we seem to be going, sort of into a world where we're monitoring fitness a lot more. Now, by that I mean, pedometers, how much exercise you've done, keeping track of everything. Now, I don't know where would you guys stand? Would you guys consider buying one of these? I don't know, where do you guys?
I can see that it would be really useful, for example, when you're riding your bike home, for example, and you get a phone call, and instead of having to reach into your pocket and physically take it out, you could just answer it from your watch or whatever.
You look really weird, just putting your wrist towards your ear.
Yeah, I don't think you have to put your wrist towards your ear. That's a little too far. I think it's sort of like the whole speakerphone sort of thing you got going on, or you're allowed to answer calls or stuff like that. You've also got this whole sort of thing where you can have control of your Android device, limitedly, so you can can control your music. You sort of keep track of the things that are going on. So if you're receiving text messages and calls, you reply to them. On the Samsung tech that you've definitely got, you've got stuff like S Voice. Now S Voice is like Siri, but it's still S Voice. It's not the best, and it's not it's still got a long way to go. But that's apparently on the watch itself. Another way that wearable tech is going is we've got Google Glass. Have any of you guys heard of Google Glass?
Yeah.
This was.
So you can only get in America, can't you?
This was me and you went to the Gadget Show live a little while ago. This was them previewed there. There was about 2 of them there. You need a big wallet to be able to afford one of these. Let me make that clear.
Can I interrupt for a sec?
Yeah, go for it.
Google Glass. They're the glasses that you wear, right?
They are the glasses that you wear.
Then
yeah, they go on your head.
I thought they were just called Google Glasses, not Google Glass.
No.
I thought it was like a glass that you drink from that you could Google on or something. That'd be pretty cool.
No, not quite.
No, but you can Google on it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, so this is the sort of thing where you wear it on your head, and you've got sort of a panel of what looks like glass. I'm not sure if it is glass itself. That goes,
it's glass with a projector on it,
above the above your eye, and it's one of the corners where you sort of have to look up. If you were to look up at something that's quite far away, you're going to see it, and that's your panel. You need a big wallet like I said, to afford one of these. You need to be. You can apply to be an explorer of the Google Glass technology, and but for this you have to be a resident of America, and B, you need about £1,500 to be able to afford one of these. Now, this seems like a lot of money, especially if we've got other stuffs that you're going to be competing with that are, you've got like your CPUs or GPUs and stuff like that you could be spending your money on elsewhere. But yeah, you could be spending your £1,500 on this. I'm not sure whether or not I would go for this, because this is a lot of money for something that is quite simple. You get to Google things. You've got the camera on there, which is again fairly low res, but not too bad for what it's doing.
It does its job.
It does its job. That exactly. But it can becoming quite helpful in day-to-day life. It's got stuff like your sat nav on there, and can compare with your device with Bluetooth. some of the wearable tech that I've been talking about can pair by a device via something called NFC. NFC, is built into the phone, and you have on a lot of the latest phones you have an NFC enabled, which is very handy because you've just got to hold the device against the back of the phone or the front of the phone, wherever the NFC chip is in the phone, and that'll be it. That's all you've done. But with some of them, you have to use Bluetooth. Now, Bluetooth is you're always broadcasting that you're there, and that can be quite draining on a battery life, especially if your phone doesn't handle that well anyway, and it struggles to get through the day without a charge. Put Bluetooth on that, and you're probably going to be going to need a midday charge in that, which I personally think that's a big downside to the whole wearable tech, that you're going to have your Bluetooth on constantly to be able to use it.
And that's going to drain your battery quite a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely going to drain your battery quite a lot. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, to prevent that sort of stuff happening, there is technology like those little what do they call them? Chargers that you can have in your pocket to charge your phone. You can have those on hand, and I'm sure it's the whole day. And I think the majority of people tend to charge their phone every night, especially if they're going to be using it the next day. I mean, I only charge mine if I'm going to be using it the next day.
Yeah, but this might not even last a day.
Well, how long is the average day that you're going to be going out? 9 hours maximum?
Let's not forget, can you turn the device off to save power?
You can. Which device? The watch or the wearable tech?
The wearable tech.
Yeah, you should be able to turn it off. Now, the thing is, you've got a limited battery life on the device itself. This is being the wearable tech. Now, especially, I don't know, everyone here that wears a watch, you don't want to take it off every night to put it on charge, because it's just something that goes on with you day to day, and you don't want to be able to put it on the side to charge it when you go to sleep, because you're probably going to forget to put it on the next morning, to be fair. And now this is something that they've taken into account, Galaxy have taken into account when making the Gear 2 and the Gear 2 Neo. Now, instead of having the 1 day battery life where you would have to take it off and charge it, it runs for a bit longer, and runs for about 2 to 3 days on medium to low usage. You've then got stuff like
No, last night.
On the original Galaxy, you had like I think it was a 300 odd milliamp battery, which is okay compared to stuff like my device, which is an S4 Active, where you're getting stuff like I think it's 2,600 milliamps, and for a good battery, you need something that's higher than milliamp. The longer it's going to use. I don't know. It's got a long way to go, and this stuff is very much in beta. You've got stuff like Pebble. Pebble are another smartwatch that Dennis, I know you might want to search them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they are they've brought out quite a few new watches. Now these look like normal watches. You'd look at them and think, oh yeah, this is fine, because of the sort of straps that they've got. But the thing is that's sort of turning me off about these, that you can only have, 8 apps at once, Ewan? Something like that?
Yeah, it was only 8, and there's like thousands out.
And the thing is, it's black and white. Now, if you want something to show off, and you're going to spend quite a bit on this, you're going to want it to be snazzy. But it looks like your normal watch. You can get the changeable straps, but you can only have 8 apps at a time. Now, you can remove apps, and they're making apps, left, right, and center for these things, and they're releasing SDKs, which are software development kits, for the developers to make their stuff to make their apps for these watches. Another thing that's been brought out sort of fairly recently is an SDK for Android Wear. Android Wear is is something that's been released by Android itself. It's probably one of the reasons why Android and Gear had probably separated a bit. This is one that's been released by Android itself, and they've released an SDK for the developers. Again, I think they're going for the round face watch instead of a square face. But these things aren't always affordable. Especially something like Google Glass, where you're going to be paying £1,500, just to get one. Maybe when they've been released, the price will go down a bit. I don't know. But you're looking at maybe for the Pebble smartwatch, you're looking for £100 ish. Galaxy Gear, you have to have a Galaxy device. It won't work with any other device. Now, Sony smartwatch, they are. You can compare those with the majority of Android devices. I think you have to run Android 4.0 and up. Now, this has been very Android based, and I do acknowledge that. Now, Apple have been rumored to be releasing an iWatch. Now, there's not really much
Yeah,
in the
I was
speculation
about
for
to
that.
say,
Yeah, they
like,
have.
I was about to
Yeah,
say,
I heard about that
who's
too.
going to compete
Apple
to
have
this?
Apple have created a version where there's the iPod Nano, which clips into a wristband that just looks like a normal watch, except it isn't as good and it doesn't have very good battery life. And it's just the iPod Nano, but I think they are going to release their own version.
Yeah, and I think that would be a very big competitor in the smartwatch, in the wearable tech market, because, Apple have already got a very big name for themselves, and for them to be releasing a smartwatch, everyone's going to be like, oh, Apple smartwatch, this is going to be amazing. When actually, take a look around, have a look at the competitors, and see what is best for you. There's a lot of rubbish on the internet of saying, this could be what it's like. It could be. We don't know. Apple have kept it very hush hush, and we don't really know where this is going to be going. This might be enabled with all your devices, but if it's Apple, I can probably guess that it's going to be Apple only devices, and probably their latest devices. If they're releasing an iPhone 6 or something, it's probably going to be released with that, because then you're going to have the NFC or Bluetooth enabled in the device that allows you to connect these devices together. I don't know. Where do you guys stand on this?
Well, personally, I think the whole interconnectivity thing is good. It's definitely going to help these devices. I'm more interested in how the way that Apple and other mobile development companies are going to react to this in comparison to Android. Everyone loves Android. Android's open source. Android's easy to develop.
Yes, yeah, very much so. And
yeah,
but it's not as easy to use. Like, it's not.
That's
Like,
not
if
true.
there's
That's
most-
not true. Because Android is actually
when
meant to be the easiest to use. That's what they say.
When it comes to like adults though, where they don't really know how to move around on the phone, Apple's the easiest because it's just a really simple display.
It's Apple have got probably a
They're
better
minimalistic,
graphical user
yeah.
interface, but you don't know that because it depends what the personal taste is. You might like Apple, and personally, I'm not an Apple fan, but I know there are plenty of people that are. I always have stuck with Android for now, and that's where I'm. I don't know. That's where I'm going to, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to be sort of heading, because Android there's a lot more open, and there's a lot of restrictions that you have on Apple that aren't there, and that I just prefer that. I don't know.
But the thing is with Apple is a lot of their products you can rely on. They tend to have some strong products. I know that they're like
They can last a long time.
I know that their like laptops and computers and phones and stuff are quite expensive. I mean, very expensive, in fact. But they do last quite a long. And they're not necessarily amazing for games and stuff, but they're good for media or just doing your work or something. And they are quite stylish, and they have nice screens and stuff as well, like with IPS panels, etc., etc.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, you are investing in something when you buy Apple. I think that, because you're buying for the long term. It's return on investment. You're going to get your uses out of it as long as you don't drop it on the pavement like some moron. But you've got a lot of usage out of it. And with with Android devices even, you look as long as you look after it, it should serve you well. And I don't know. I think there's a lot more. Android have definitely started the whole competitive spirit for wearable tech, and especially with stuff like Google. I don't know what they'll Google Glass. I don't know what that will pair with. I don't know if it's going to be pairing with anything itself. I don't know. I haven't read up that much on it, but I mean that's sort of, I don't know. I think I'll probably leave that one there, and probably bring that topic to a close. Does anyone have any questions?
Thing with the smartwatches though, I can't really imagine my grandparents or, in fact, my parents using a smartwatch just due to the fact that it's touchscreen. It's really, in their eyes, I could see them saying, like, no offense to them, I could see them saying that it could be advanced or something. Like, for example, my grandparents, they hate the fact of using touchscreen phones. It scares them, in fact. So they all have the really old Nokias that cost around £5 in Tesco's or something. But
the ones that are like bricks where
yeah,
they
the
never
bricks,
break.
the massive bricks, they have those, and that's because they don't like touchscreen. It's alien to them, if you know what I'm saying. And I just can't see my grandparents even using that, especially because their phones don't even use Bluetooth, even if they understand what Bluetooth is.
The Nokia doesn't support Bluetooth.
At the end of the day, I just want a watch that is
It tells you the time.
doing
It does,
its job.
Does its job.
It's doing its job. I just want a watch that
tells
does
the
that.
time.
and it also depends
Yeah.
how much these will cost. If these are pretty affordable, I'll probably get one. But if they don't offer any functions and they're pretty expensive, I'll probably won't get them.
The Sony Smartwatch 2 seems to be the most affordable and out of the lot, or the Pebble Smartwatch. I mean, these are around price about £100. Depends what you're looking for in the device. If you're going to go for Galaxy Gear or Gear 2 or Gear 2 Neo, then you're probably looking around about the £300 mark, which is that's for first hand. I mean, if you're looking about second hand, I've seen them in shops where they're about 135 pre-used. But it's I don't know, it's quite a lot of money just for something that you're going to wear on your wrist. And if you're going to get your whole usage out of it, if it's going to have Corning Gorilla Glass or whatever that is, how tough is this actually going to be? Are you going to go and smash it on something, on a handle or something, and you're going to break the camera? And the limited warranty doesn't cover that. I don't know where we stand with sort of stuff like that. I don't know.
I've seen people have complaints about various smartwatches. For example, I think it was the Sony one. The strap, it's detachable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, people have complaints about that. When you take off your backpack when you're at college or something, that they knock the smartwatch and it just completely lets go of the strap and just falls on the floor and breaks. And I've seen multiple people complain about that, the way that it can fall off so easily. And other people have said how they go on their bike, they go over a bump, and all of a sudden it just falls off. That's another thing that would annoy me. But they do have their bonuses as well. For example, say if you're listening to your music, instead of having to reach into your pocket to change song, you can do it on there. Or if you have an email, instead of having to reach into your pocket, you can read it on your thing. You can't necessarily message them back, but you can read it, and that has a good use,
Yeah, I definitely think this is where the world is going, and we've got big developers out there that are competing to make things better and better, and making them even more affordable, for people. And I don't know. It's a very new topic, and it's got further to go than anything else. Like smartphones when they first came out, like the LG Cookie. It was new. It was stuff that we hadn't experienced before, and this is the same sort of thing. This is something on your wrist that we don't really understand that much, and it needs to be sort of accepted, I think, a bit more, because I don't know. It's got a long way to go. It's got a long way to go before it's sort of widely used in sort of most homes and stuff like that. But it definitely makes technology itself more usable, more user friendly, and makes it has a presence. So I don't know, I think I'll probably leave that there. Anyone else have any questions?
That's me done.
No.
Okay. So should we change? Can I have a subject?
Go for it.
Sure,
Yeah.
All right,
I
cool.
can change to mine.
I'm gonna have a
Actually,
go.
no, you go. Just.
I'm gonna we're gonna change it around a little bit. My subject's gonna be more film oriented. The film news lately. So let me just quickly change the topic on the thing.
This is the part where opinions are going to be flying around.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What sort of films do you have, Dennis?
So basically, what I'm going to be talking about is, if you bear with me a second while I quickly bring up the link. This one. Where's it? Oh, there we go. All right. So, does anyone know who Chris Evans is?
I don't.
Okay, he is the actor.
Did he talk on some sort of Radio 1? No, wait, no,
Maybe.
that was...
That's Chris Moyles.
That was Chris Moyles, my bad, my bad.
Derp.
I pulled a Ewan.
Yep. Okay, so Chris Evans is the actor.
No, not yet.
Chris Evans is the actor of Captain America or the Human Torch. I'm sure you guys all know who they are.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, what he wants to do is he wants to quit acting, which a lot of people don't like, because he is in the middle of the Marvel franchise, like all that stuff, where they've got Avengers 2 coming out.
He's a brilliant actor.
He's a very good actor, and if they changed Captain America, it just wouldn't be the same. It would kind of. I don't like it when they change an actor, because it kind of ruins the feel of it. You feel like you know the character, and then if someone else acts it, they always act it a little bit different, and it changes things. So basically, he wants to quit acting due to the fact that he wants to focus on directing. He wants to start directing films and stuff like that, but doing Avengers and stuff like that is getting in the way of what he wants to pursue. And to the thing is though, is like, because he wants to do this, of course it's going live, it's going public, everyone's talking about it. Like what I've got on screen right now, this is M4GTV, they're doing an article about it. Everyone doesn't want him to leave. He's getting a lot of hate on Twitter about it, I've heard. And but the thing is, he can't do anything about it. He has a contract with Marvel to do 6 films. So far he's done 3. He's done Captain America 1, Captain America the Winter Soldier, and Avengers Assemble. He's also got to do the second Avengers movie,
Don't forget about
Avengers Age
Fantastic
of
Four as well.
Ultron, which will come out in 2015, and then there's one other film that they haven't listed here. What are you guys' opinion about the way that he wants to quit? And if he did quit, what would you guys what's your opinion on that?
Well, I've not really seen that many of the films that he's in, but this is quite exciting because it's opened up sort of that idea that he's in a six film contract, and we've got a lot to come with the way of Marvel goes. They're not quite done yet. They've got a lot more in the way that they're going to throw at us.
They're only just starting up now.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Like,
that's
as
very
soon
exciting.
as it starts up, there's going to be like all these different
I don't think-
Avengers and Marvel characters. It's going to be amazing.
And with
Yeah,
like the
I don't-
Avengers 2 coming, oh wait, carry on.
I don't think he should leave. I mean, I can see that he wants to pursue his dream, but I can't see him being in acting for more than another 10 years because he's got his another 3 films to go, and he can do it after, can't he? Like, I don't know. I mean, that's what makes me sound a bit bad, but
Probably not.
He's got a lot of things coming his way, and I don't know.
Like, I'm gonna read this from the page. If you just give me a second while I put it on the other monitor so I can actually read it. But he stated that, if you bear with me. Okay, he said, if I'm acting at all, it's going to be under Marvel contract, or I'm going to be directing. I can't see myself pursuing and acting strictly outside of what I'm contractually obligated to do. So basically what he's saying is, if he's going to act anymore, it has to be under Marvel. He's not going to do anything else. I mean, that's what it comes out to me. I don't know if that's what he actually...
That's
That's
probably just like
how
the
it strikes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the 6 films, and that's it, really.
So I think, like, he's definitely said that he's going to stay, but I don't know if he's too happy about that. I think he might be a bit annoyed that he has to stay because he really wants to, like, leave. And doing 3 films, that could take a while. I mean, they've got to film them all, they have to edit them all, and come on, each film takes, what, maximum 2 years, maybe a little bit longer to make.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, really
so,
long.
so you could see him leaving Marvel in 2017, 2018, and it could just get... I don't know. I feel like maybe the acting could be a bit difficult for him, and you might actually see it come out in the later films where you can see that the acting is not as energetic as it was before, sort of thing,
Yeah.
And I don't
can
want
see
that bad
I mean,
energy to come off in those films because these films are just so good.
yeah. I mean, how does acting? Does that seem like quite a hard job? Now they make it look quite easy. Just show up at a few things, smile, get some photos taken, and then film some stuff. But does it actually, involve, quite a lot of blood, sweat, and tears almost?
Apparently, acting is one of the worst jobs. If you give me a second, I'm just bringing up the top 10 worst jobs. And wait, this isn't it. Give me a sec. Let's just do this one. I believe that acting was the 4th worst job in the world. Why won't it? Oh, continue to cite. Okay, I believe it was the 4th worst job. Yeah. Okay, so we have...
I get how you have to wake up early and all that type of stuff, but you get all the fame, and it's like a brilliant thing. Everyone will know you because of that film.
You get a lot of money out of it, but the thing is, you have to work from...
Yeah.
You're gonna have... If you want to do a night shoot, you're gonna have to be up all night. If you want to do a morning shoot, you're gonna have to be up early. You're gonna have to move around countries a lot to get lots of different
Yeah, you have to just follow them.
things, and you have to be up. I mean, you have to be working from, like, let's say 7 in the morning until like 10 at night sometimes, because they've got to get different shots and different times of day, and they've got to go over and over and over until they get the right scene. And it could be a really tedious job that's just very annoying
Yeah,
and
just
stressful.
keep retaking that. And
I guess-
if it goes over
I mean,
a specific
that's
bit
with-
and it's like night time, then it repeats. Like onto a second day. Carry on, Tom.
I can't find
Yeah.
this.
I mean, like, it's going to be like with anything. You put the effort in, you're going to get the money out, and you're going to get the satisfaction of the job out. Now, I'm guessing that's the same with any job. You know, you're going to have to work hard with acting, but, you know, you're going to get Dora at the end of it. I mean, you know, this is like with anything. You can go into any job, and as long as you do well at it and you work hard in it, you know, you're going to end up, you know, doing well. And it's not just acting, I don't think.
I mean, if you're looking at the screen now, it says the worst jobs of 2013 is number 4 is actor. Earning a full-time wage as an actor is one of the most difficult career paths one can pursue. Competition is fierce and earnings are typically paltry unless you are one of the lucky fraction of a few to break into big time. Like, it's just... you can get a lot of money out of it if you've got a big film. Like, for example, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man. I'm sure he makes quite a lot from that. But I can see how it could be a really stressful and painful job.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, especially for films like how many films that Robbie Downey Jr. is listed into, you know, he's going to be in there for a while, and you know, I hope the one.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to carry on.
He's a good actor.
They're not going to keep him on for much longer because he costs so much.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, let's not forget the actor's life is not. Are you in continue?
He just to pay for Robert Downey Jr., you have to pay double the amount as any of the other like Avengers or something like that. It's ridiculous.
He is an old man, bearing in mind. No offense to him. He's getting on a bit, and he could get injured easily and stuff.
Marvel did say that they might actually cut him off or just finish the Iron Man series just so then they can get rid of him.
I don't want them to cut him off. I want them to keep him because he plays the part really well, in my opinion. He makes Iron Man.
And he is 49 going on 50. And, you know, a 50-year-old that's doing stuff that Iron Man does, you know, with all the action scenes and stuff like that, it's going to be, you know, hard on him. He's nearly 49. So, you know, he's, you know, doing well, I think.
He looks pretty damn good for like almost 50-year-old, though, I've got to say. I mean, I'd love to be in his shape at the age of 50.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that these actors, when they get this popular, their normal life is sort of sacrificed. If that makes sense. Like,
yeah, you do lose out on your social life.
They become a lot more popular, and then they become to the point where if they're seen in public, they get either shouted at or they get followed and fanboyed and all that kind of stuff. So you know, they're sacrificing their normal life for this. So what's it going to be? You know, how's that going to affect them?
I can see that's probably why, you know, the guy that plays Captain America wants to leave, and you know, he wants his whole life back. But he can do directing and stuff like that again, but just not acting. Maybe it is his dream. I don't know, but I mean, it's.
But the main reason why he's so famous is mostly because his looks on Avengers. Like only a quarter of it is about how he plays it and his acting and all that type of stuff.
Let's face it, though, the majority of superheroes have to be good looking for both sexes. I mean, you have Black Widow, and I think you guys would not argue with me, she is a pretty woman. And then you have the Black Widow, or Scarlett Johansson, if you want to...
the fact that you know her name.
Well, then you've got the others as well, like you've got the men, which are like Robert Downey Jr. and... what's his name again? Chris Evans. They are like the good-looking men for the female side of the audience that are going to enjoy that, and it's another reason to watch the film. It's a good marketing strategy for Marvel. If you had an ugly person playing Captain America, then
not going to be as popular. Not
going to be as popular. I mean, because there's a lot of fangirls that do enjoy good-looking men.
Yeah, he's not about the brains. He's about the looks, and that's the reason why all the girls like him in like the actual film and outside the film.
Exactly.
Yep. Brainy is the new sexy. If that makes sense.
But then you get like Robert Downey Jr., who is actually a really smart guy in the film. He's smart, rich, funny. He's got a suit. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want an Iron Man suit? I mean, I would love an Iron Man suit. I'd
love it.
I would sell so many things for that.
I would sell myself for an Iron Man suit. I'm serious.
Then you wouldn't be able to wear it.
That's where I was insinuating, but insisting. Sorry.
Did you guys see Robbie Downey Jr.'s meme?
No.
Here we go.
If he had the Iron Man suit for one day, he would actually sell it rather than actually wear it.
Now, Ewan, what is a meme?
Oh God, here we go.
Shut
Okay.
up.
Here we go.
Okay,
I think that's to the end of that subject, though.
Yep.
Is there anything else you guys want to touch upon on that?
Not really.
No.
He's got a bit way to go, and he's stuck there. So we've got a lot to look forward to. But at the end of the day, he wants to get out, and fair play to him. It must be hard.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely respect. Props for that.
Yeah, it could be and he's got to dress up. Some men, especially men, because they want to pride themselves as being a man, don't necessarily want to dress up in a superhero costume for their whole career.
Hey, I would.
I would. I'd love to
Yeah,
look like
it
a
would be
badass
awesome,
in a film, but then
yeah.
we're teenagers, dude.
Tom,
if
if
you
you're up
move
to
on
you,
to be a
date
man,
Sherlock.
then
So
You're being known from cosplaying, basically. It's not very good when you're about 40 years old.
yeah, exactly. It can be frowned upon by some and looked up upon, or whatever you want to call it, from others. Okay, I think that's the end of that subject, though. Do you want to start on
Well,
yours?
Ewan.
Wait, was it Ewan? Yeah, Ewan. We're going to
Yep.
start on yours. So yours
Me.
is the Oculus
Yay.
DK2, right?
Oculus Rift DK2, yeah.
Okay.
Just developers kit 2. Okay then, yeah. Everyone knows about an Oculus Rift, hopefully. Do
Yep.
any of you guys, everyone knows about that?
Yep.
Quickly,
no one doesn't know about-
enlighten us on it.
Okay, it's basically
Quickly go
the
over a brief
future of
description
gaming.
of what it is.
It's the future of gaming where it's basically a headset, but it only covers your eyes. It's each eye will have a different screen, like binoculars, and it basically projects the screen onto the actual screen on each eye. And wherever you look around the room when you've got it on, then the actual camera in the game, or whatever you're on, like a video or something like that, then it will move round. So like if you're in a car, you can look behind you to see what's in the back seats, or you can see what's in front of you, or
So
by
it's a
the
virtual
side.
reality headset, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you have a headset on it as well, then it can be really, really good. It's really terrible when you're playing a horror game, so you can't hide behind anything.
Oh god. I've seen Let's Plays of that.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
looks
Dennis, I'll
like
send
it
you a
could
link off
be-
the front of it.
What? Say again?
I'm sending you a link off the front of it. Carry on.
Okay. It looks like it could be the future of gaming, but then when you say that, do you mean specific games? Because from what I know of the Oculus is doesn't work with every game. I can't imagine using the Oculus
Yeah, it
in a
doesn't.
game like World of
A
Warcraft,
strategy
or,
game or something, yeah.
yeah,
It's,
or a
it's only
StarCraft or
used
League of
on-
Legends.
It's only
But-
on games that have been made specifically on it. I do have a list of games, but we can go through that later on.
Yeah, because for League of
No.
Legends or something like that, it just wouldn't be ideal.
Still be kind
No,
of funny. though.
it's
Be cool,
more
yeah.
about the games which is first person.
But I guess it has its drawbacks too. Say if someone walks in your room, they could completely own you while you're in the middle of a really intense
Yeah.
league, and all of a sudden they just make you
Okay.
jump out your skin. You wouldn't be able to know that.
So-
So,
are
for the
YouTubers.
people that don't know, me and Ewan tried the Oculus Rift. I don't know if it was the new one. I don't know if it was one. I don't know. We tried the Oculus Rift at the Gadget Show
That was the
live a
DK1.
few days ago. Okay. Now, it is really clever, and the technology behind it, is stunning. And Ewan, how much are these sort of things priced at? Are they affordable for the normal user?
The first one. Wait, so
It's around 230,
the first one
250, isn't it?
the first one sold out at the moment, but yeah, it was around about £250. But so it was quite expensive, but it was affordable for gamers. It was really good, and the first developer kit came with even a coding software, so then people could actually design their own games.
Okay, so this is a
Yeah.
what's the frame rate or something like this? Does that depend on the game, or do you lose any qualities of the game?
Well,
through
apparently
through
it was limited to 720p.
Probably depending on the computers. Yeah, the
720p
first
then.
one, DK1 is on 720p, but then the DK2 is 1080p, which is really good.
That's not bad.
Also,
especially-
yeah, the DK2 also has better frame rate and better resolution, so then it's a lot better for like viewing games. If it's like a high graphic games, which I'll get to an extremely good one, which Dennis will like in the next part.
You're going to have to just bear with me for 5 minutes while I quickly pop downstairs because my family are leaving and I need to go say goodbye. But I'll be back in literally
Okay.
5 minutes,
Okay.
and you guys can carry on with the show.
Yeah, we can continue.
Alright, I'll be back in a minute.
So the
Okay, so-
Oculus definitely looks like a gamer would invest in if they really wanted to go hardcore, at least.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I
more
mean-
of like game developers. at the moment, and like high people like YouTubers and all that type of stuff where they're looking for something to play with to actually get the proper thrill out of it. But there's not a lot of high graphical games out at the moment.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean I've seen some pretty good like gameplays with the Oculus Rift. I watched some Irish dude play Skyrim with it, and every time he
Wow.
he apparently felt sick, like IRL.
Yeah. In the Oculus Rift DK1, when we were putting it on, you could even tell, and they say on here, after playing for like 5 minutes, you start to feel a little bit ill because of motion sickness.
Yeah.
But the
Ewan, you have a
DK2
question?
have actually reduced that.
You have a question in the
What's
chat.
the question?
Ewan,
Let me
what
go
do
and
you
have a-
think of the takeover of Oculus by Facebook? Do you think the company will change or offer anything different because of this?
Well, I don't think Facebook's actually going to get into it much. They only just bought it just so they can actually get the profit off it, and just to say it's theirs. But
Yeah, it's still the
I don't
same.
think
It's
they're
still
going
the
to-
same company developing
it's the
it.
same
It's just
thing.
under Facebook's
Yeah.
name, so under their
They
rights.
just bought the company, basically. But
Definitely.
yeah, the company is founded by he is 21 years old, and he's only been doing made the company for the past 2 years. So he's actually made something pretty spectacular in the past 2 years. And the company was worth 2 billion when they bought it.
Yeah. Well, that's because I'm glad I don't want like any random company taking over like a technology like this and potentially either ruining it or making it better.
Yeah,
I
it
want
was
to
better
stay the
Facebook
same as it
somehow.
is. I mean, there's some
But yeah,
pretty big geniuses working on the Oculus Rift. I mean, any of you know about the
Yeah, they said-
Doom games? The Doom games, pretty old, Quake and Doom. The creator of those games,
Yeah.
John Carmack, he's actually working on the Oculus Rift. He's a developer for that, and he's brought some
They
pretty
said-
revolutionary stuff to like gaming in terms of like games
They
and
said
graphics.
that-
So
I was watching a video not long ago, but they said every single person who they've employed, they've had to prove like their way in and that type of stuff. They were proper full-on professionals, and they only employed the best. So they would only employ people like game developers and all that type of stuff to try and actually get the best.
definitely.
Okay, I'm back.
So that should answer your question, Speedy Duck 36.
Okay, so the answer, of like, will Facebook's ownership of Oculus, will that make a difference in the products that they're going to possibly bring out? Because Facebook have bought things like Snapchat, the app, and we haven't seen any big changes recently in that. But do you think we'll see any big changes, in Oculus itself?
No, all they'll be doing is just funding it, really, unless there's like something really big that they want.
They're
like
essentially backers,
if they're
aren't they,
sponsoring
basically?
games or something like that. Yeah, they're only just funding it. But if there's like a big game that Facebook is deliberately trying to and then they'll just forward it to Oculus, and then they can create
Do we know
that
how much
game
it was?
onto the Oculus Rift.
Do you know how much it was bought for?
Probably a
It was
decent
bought
lump
for £2 billion, so quite a lot.
Wow. Yeah.
Be right back.
Wait, 2 billion?
I just need to quickly do something. Yeah, £2 billion.
God damn.
I'll send you a link so where the news is.
Oh, I've already got it. Wait, give me a second. I'll change onto that link now. But I just
Is
weighed it
that
up,
the news link?
and the DK2 is £209 or $350.
Channel flip son. Link to
Oh
This
Oculus.
my
is
god,
the
it
news.
is
That's
2
not-
billion.
Is that include a headset or not a
For
headset,
something-
but like a
No,
an
not
ear-
headset,
earphones?
just the Oculus Rift.
Just the
What's
But
the
for
camera that
something
you got with it there?
wait,
Just for something that you put over your head that actually plays the screen, which is like the first type of thing that's ever come out like that, and it's the closest thing to virtual gaming at the moment. That is pretty spectacular for the price.
Yeah, I suppose that
Yeah.
is, because that's definitely... I would probably enjoy my games a lot more with it. I won't lie, that's probably going to be really
Put it
good.
back. I just have to quickly say something.
Now,
Right,
was it
keep
Dennis
carrying
that
on
showed me
talking.
that thing? Was it Dennis that showed me that thing about the whole treadmill where you could be running and
Oh, do you
sort
wanna
of
move
in
on to
your
that?
game simulation?
do you want to move on to that topic?
Well, something like that with the Oculus Rift would be, would be really outstanding. You'd be in the full gaming experience.
I'll,
really, I think.
Let me put that on the screen. We'll link these two topics together. I mean, we're getting short on time anyway, so we'll link them together. Okay, guys. So basically, there's this new thing that's going to be released. It's called the Virtuix Omni Virtual Reality Treadmill. It's going to be out in July for early adopters or anything. But if you look on screen now, that's a demo of what it is. So basically, it goes around your wrist, and you're able to do a 360 rotation when you're running on it.
Okay, I'm back.
You hold onto a gun at the same time, and if you had that with the Oculus Rift in conjunction with each other, that could be a full-on
Yeah.
gaming experience. Having to run and run and actually look as if you're in the game, moving around with your eye, like your neck and everything at the same time. It could be
that
a very
paired
cool
with the
experience.
Oculus, oh my god.
But I could see some.
I've seen
I could see
some-
some downfall behind it. For example, with the Oculus, you wouldn't be able to see anything. So if you trip,
you're
damn.
screwed.
it could hurt. I mean, I don't know if
yeah,
this
it
would work.
can hurt.
Also, with this treadmill, you can see on the screen that it has like a circle around your hips. I mean, no offense to the larger people out there, but I'm wondering if does this have a limit, like a weight limit? Of course, it will have one of those, but I'm not talking about like a size limit, or do they have like different different sizes for this sort of thing? I'm
Oh,
not
for
sure.
the waist. I see.
No,
Oh, yeah,
it's
'cause
just
that
it's
can
a
be
wrist.
sort of a-
It's a thing that's attached to your.
Yeah, I know, but
hip.
if you look at the ring
It's
around
like a
the thing
band.
that's attached.
Yeah, no, but that doesn't really matter. If that's only if you go in a different thing. But the gun, on the other hand, if you are actually playing a game and you want to look behind a bunker, it actually works because you can actually make it so you have tags around your wrist and that. So when you do look around, half your body will actually be behind the cover.
This is going to be a very, very expensive setup.
It's around
Basically.
for the treadmill on its own. It's £300 or £298 if you want to be exact or something. But
£298 plus your £200 for your Oculus Rift. However much of the game is on the console itself. You know,
you're
this
looking
is
at around a £1,000 near.
Yeah, you're looking at
800
around
plus
that
setup.
mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially with the way that
It's
Xbox
quite
Ones cost
expensive,
so much.
but for developers, it's a lot cheaper than other products like the Google Glass, for example.
It could be
Yeah.
it could be a great great addition to a gaming setup if you want to try something that's like a virtual. It's like I'm gonna call it virtual reality. I don't know what else to call it, but it is very. It's something else to try. I mean, we've had things like Kinect, which we thought was the next big thing, being able to sort of be in the game with your body sensed up by the what's it called? Is it called Kinect itself, the little camera?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
Kinect.
We thought that was awesome, but then now that they've got this treadmill thing, I can see this being pretty damn awesome when it comes to games like GTA. Although when you get in a car in GTA, it could be a bit difficult. So I don't know about GTA actually. Maybe FPSs, I can see it being great, like Call of Duty and stuff. I can
You
see it
know
being
that-
amazing.
Yeah,
You
but
know the
you're going to
military?
have things like jumping and stuff like that. That's not going to go so well. If you try and
Yeah.
jump on that, you're going to full face first.
I can see that being
Yeah,
a flaw
but they're
too.
gonna make it. They're gonna make a different way to make it so if they'll make it so you can crouch, but jumping on the other hand, they'll make it so like you press a button on like the gun or something like that.
Yeah, I can see.
And
why that
also,
would be a good idea.
you know the U.S. military.
Yeah.
They also went and bought a share in it, so then they can actually use it for their people because instead of actually going to the battlefield or shooting blanks at each other, they thought it would be a better idea if they just actually used it on the military people. So then, like, when they're hiding behind cover, they can hide properly and all that type of stuff. So it's actually used for training in the US military, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I
Will
like
a
the idea.
game give a fair representation of what it is actually like in the battlefield, though? Like,
Yeah.
you're not
yeah.
going to have someone like, get to the chopper, when actually, you know, you got two people in front of you
If
that
you've
are
seen
shooting you.
if you've seen the Battlefield, no, not Battlefield, there's a gadget show one where every single time you get shot, it shoots like a paintball at you. So
I've seen that.
So it's
That's
specific
very
to
good.
that.
That
Yeah.
could
So you
not
can
end up
run.
well. The amount of bruises you
You
would
can
get
run,
if
you
you were
can
bad.
Yeah,
jump,
for
you
example,
can
if you're not very
crouch,
good at gaming
you
like I am,
shoot.
you know, you're gonna end up hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see why this
exactly,
wouldn't
but it
work very
can't-
well.
It's like,
It's
why
really good
are you
for
here at the
teaching
hospital, sir?
people.
I'm not very good at Battlefield.
Yeah, but it teaches people, and you can also turn down the sensitivity of the stuff. You can even make like BB guns or air, so you can just feel it, but it isn't actually
I'd rather
hurting
them
you.
just shoot foam bullets like a Nerf gun or something.
Also,
Makes more
because
sense.
going back to DK2, better than the DK1, the DK2 has, because it's got better frame rate, better resolution, all that type of stuff, you're less likely to actually get the sickness, motion sickness, and it also has lower latency and lower precision. Well, and
Now, which was
Microsoft,
the one we tried, Ewan?
we tried the DK1. The
Okay, so
DK2 isn't out yet.
That was making me feel a little motion sick. I'm not gonna lie. You know, the
Yeah,
way
same.
we were, there was sort of a scene where you were going over a mountain, and you could look around, and as you look
yeah,
around, the camera would
that's so
change.
good.
That made you feel a bit query, as in like they had a bar there for you to hold on to for a reason.
Yeah, because if you didn't hold the bar, if you literally tilted your head, you felt like you were actually being tilted in the game.
I did think the floor was tilting. Yes.
How would that work at home though? Because I'm not sure everyone has a bar. Like,
No, not everyone does have a
When
bar.
you
I
have
mean,
something to hold
yeah,
on to.
I mean, you could sit in your chair, but you could still
It's-
fall off the chair if you don't have armrests. I don't.
definitely.
Yeah,
Like,
but
you
they
need a
make it
seatbelt.
so- that isn't their fault though. You have to have something that you
Yeah,
have to
but
strap on
they're
yourself.
selling you a product that's going to make you fall off of your chair or something.
They do
Oh, it'd
say
be
for health
hilarious
and
to video.
safety, like,
Hilarious to video.
please hold on to something or something like that. But
You'll be
it's
holding
in
onto your
order for you
Xbox
to
controller.
be able to actually have the common sense.
They ain't going to save you.
Also, the DK2 has better microsecond precision measurement, so if you move the tiniest little bit, then the actual screen will move better. But the DK1, which we'll do, and you have to move quite a bit for the camera to move, and it wasn't like you move and then it moved after you moved, so it wasn't straight away.
Okay. I think, yeah, this has got, again, a long way to go before it's something that's, in most homes.
Actually, not that bad. It's only got another 2 more years before the actual full-on product comes out, and that's when the DK2 comes out.
What are we expecting, with the, with this full product that you talk of?
It will just be the goggles at the moment, but you can probably get some extra speakers on the side, but it'll be full-on proper ones that won't hardly break. There'll be tons of games by them because people will be making them from DK1, and it will be top quality game in 1080p, and it will actually be affordable, only $350 when that comes out.
Or 200 and...
Okay.
No, wait.
And
how much was
also,
that again?
like,
I've forgotten in my head.
for Linux and Mac users, not Windows, they can also buy the product and still be able to use it because it runs on all 3 platforms.
So it runs on all platforms, so you've got your Linux and Mac users that it will run on as well,
Okay, so it's £209 and 1 pence for the DK2.
to be precise.
Yeah, I just googled it. Another thing that I've realised when I was looking at the link that you sent me is it has a low persistence OLED display, which means that it has reduced motion blur and judder. So the first one, did that
Yeah.
have a lot of motion blur when you moved your head?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I remember seeing video.
Yeah,
of that.
that's what kind of made you feel ill.
Yeah,
That's the main bit
that's
that
what I was
did.
going to say. I mean, I can see why that would have made you feel ill. So the new one is, I guess, presumed to make you feel less ill. But I still think that it would take a bit of getting used to. I mean, you'd have to play on
To
it
be
for a little while.
honestly,
It does, yeah.
the whole, you feeling ill was part of the fun.
Yeah,
It
but
made you feel like, and it was an
Yeah, it
out of body
was.
Throwing up all
experience.
over
It
your
was
keyboard
really
and stuff.
cool.
It kind of like
Throwing up on your
when you're
keyboard, yeah,
flying
and you-
over the mountains. When you're flying over the mountains, it actually made you have like butterflies in your stomach. It actually made you
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
you were there, which kind of made you better in the situation. It
Do you
made
think
it
it
more
would be
real.
addicting as such? Like you'd want to get those feelings all the time.
Yeah, you wanted to
Yeah.
carry on playing.
do you think
Except
it could
you'd probably
die,
be
as in
ill
the
quite a lot of
feelings
times.
could die? Because when you first ever play a game, for example, when you first ever play Mirror's Edge, and you'll start free running, you're like, oh my god, this is so badass. By the end, you're like, I can just...
I'm tired of running now.
yeah, I can do this. I mean,
No,
screw it, we'll run.
there'll be endless possibilities. It's like all the
Like-
games that have already come out, but they'll be making it onto that actual Oculus Rift. It'll be like, instead of actually having like 3D and all that type of stuff, it'll be like 4D almost. It'll be brilliant. It's like the next step in gaming, but you can still play all those different types of games
The next
and
step
all
would
different
probably.
types of genres.
I mean, the next step, if we want to get this Oculus Rift out and it's basically almost perfected, the next step would be to simulate sensors. Then would have the in-game experience. E.g., you can simulate
And
pain
imagine the-
or, you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
imagine the
Oh.
Oculus Rift, but with also like a Kinect where it can actually see where all your movements are going.
Like
so
the
then
pregnancy
you'll easily be able
simulators.
to find it.
Essentially,
Oh,
yes. To simulate like pain and it's like as if you're touching something, you know, that kind of thing.
Having
That
like
would be-
that would be
Yeah.
really cool if they had the scary game where you're in a chair and there's like a spider crawling down your arm and you
Oh,
can feel it.
God, no, I've
That
seen a
would
video
be
with that.
really
No,
creepy.
no.
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 No. Come on, admit how awesome that would be. You'd be
I
si-
don't
you'd
want
be
to.
so
Oh, yeah,
scared. I'd be
and then you give
screaming.
that to a- Then you give that to a 4-year-old, and they're sick over your PC, and then the fans suck it in, and then it's all over the interior components.
Oh,
yeah, really. Think about that.
My Ram fans, no.
Yeah.
Fans.
Good overclock. Oh man.
The
Oh,
games
dear.
that are, I can tell you some of the games that are been put on it at the moment.
Go for it.
At the moment, the main ones that have been confirmed are
Ewan?
Oh, sorry. I'll send you the link of all the games.
Okay.
Channel flip sun. Link
Okay,
to
that's the link of all the games.
.org.
Wikipedia sounds legit.
It's on the
Yeah, no,
internet.
it
It
has
must
all
be
the
true.
games on it.
Everything
But
on the
yeah, 7
internet
Days
is
to
like
Die.
gospel.
People who like 7 Days to Die, like a Minecraft version, that'll be on it. It's confirmed, but it hasn't been made yet.
I've
But the
played
games that have been made
I've played
and are
Minecraft
available.
with like, this is a bit off topic, but I've played Minecraft with 3D glasses, and that feels pretty
Yeah, I've done
trippy.
that before. It does.
It gives me a headache
But yeah.
because it uses the blue and red glasses.
You wussy, Dennis.
The
Dude,
games that
I
are
don't use them very
available
often.
that are quite big, the games that are available that are quite big at the moment is Alone, Half-Life 2, and Half-Life Source, Hawkins, Slender, and TF2 for people who like
Screw
that.
using Slender. No way, I'm not playing with
Yeah,
that.
but
Oh god,
imagine
that would be
TF2,
brilliant.
Like, you know how fast-paced TF2 is? Imagine that, but you're actually using the goggles.
Oh, you and Euro
That would
Truck
be so
Simulator
amazing.
2. That would be amazing. Well, I can
Yeah,
sit down
absolutely.
and simulate that
Also-
I'm like driving.
Games that are planned, which Dennis will really like, is Daisy, RuneScape, and Titanfall.
Titanfall.
So when Titanfall
oh
comes
my
out on, it'll be
God.
1080p. You
So,
can fly around,
when you
jump
ju- when
around,
you
all that type of
hijack-
stuff.
yeah, when you
just
hijack
with
a
the
Titan-
goggles.
When you hijack a Titan, it's like you feel like you're jumping up there and like, oh god, that'd be so cool.
Dude, that kind of makes me want to buy it because I'm a big Titanfall fan. I honestly love that game.
It will be good, and also it'll be on top quality 1080p and proper stuff. But then there's also Minecraft, people like that. That was on it, but then it got cancelled. But there are mods which you can actually get that will work on it.
I mean, Ewan, I have a question about this. Are we going to require
Okay.
a beefy graphics card to run this Oculus Rift? Is it going to be like having two monitors?
I
at
don't
the
think
time?
so.
I was
I
just
think
about
it might
thinking
have
that.
its own type of like graphics integrated inside the actual Oculus instead of the computer.
I mean, do you know what Nvidia Shield is, Ewan?
No.
Okay, well, it's like a portable device that you can stream games off of your PC. So, for example, if you were playing League of Legends, World of Warcraft, Titanfall, anything, you could stream it to this sort of portable, portable games console,
Yeah.
if you want to call it that.
And play it on there.
And that requires you to have a pretty decent graphics card. So we're talking Kieran's and above, I think they said, or is it?
Yeah.
Am I right?
670,
670 and above.
760, yeah.
Sort of like that and above. And like we're thinking, does the Oculus Rift require you to have a sort of larger graphics card so you're able to stream it to the Oculus, if you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see you're going with that.
I mean, does it require you to have
I don't know,
some big
one sec.
hardware? Because in the end, the Oculus could actually take a bit out of your pocket. I mean, for the Oculus itself and for the upgrade of your graphics card if you need to. That's something
Yes,
that I'd have to find out.
You need a big budget. For
I
all of
don't
this.
think right now that you need it, but yeah, it does say that you do need a decent enough graphics card. So mainly, if you're going to spend the money on this game, you most likely will already have a decent enough graphics card.
Probably.
Especially, and if it's going to be running in 1080p, yeah, you're probably going to need a decent graphics card.
Yeah.
So for the game that you want to run, you need to be able to run the game, and probably more to be able to run the Oculus.
On your computer first, yeah. It needs
Yeah.
to be able to run easily with no lag on your computer before trying to run on the Oculus.
Do you need any software on the computer to be able to run the Oculus? Apart from like the drivers and stuff.
Yeah, the Oculus will come with a certain software which will be able to run on the computer.
Fair
Okay.
enough. This seems
Any more questions?
very cool. Like I look forward to this sort of technology, and I wish that they had like, say if you went into a shop like our shop in the UK is Game or CEX, I think that's what they call it. Say if they had an Oculus on trial there, I wish I could try it out before buying it, but it looks like I'm gonna have to just buy it and see it first, unless I
You're
go
gonna
to a
need to
thing
try
like you
before you
guys
buy,
did.
sort of thing.
Say again.
Yeah, you're gonna need to sort of try before you buy, but then you can go to conventions like the Gadget Show Live, which I really hope you're coming to next year.
I want to.
It was good, but
I will.
Yay! We can all go together. But yeah,
Pendulum
try it
guitars.
out.
it wasn't the,
RTFM at
it
the
wasn't
Gadget Show.
amazing.
RTFM Gadget Show
It wasn't
Live.
amazing. I thought there would be more like game-wise
probably
stuff
vlog it
there,
as well.
like indie games and that type of stuff. There was some like
There was a Titanfall
there
area.
were a decent. Yeah, there was a Titanfall area, but it was only literally like a small little booth where people could play, and there's massive queues.
Oh.
And it's the same. It
And
was the
Ewan
same
didn't
size
even
as
want to
everything
go
else.
because Ewan didn't
Aw.
want to queue.
It was too long of a queue. There's like a 30-person queue,
Traitor.
and it's like
Ewan, how
it
could
takes
you?
20 minutes before the next 10 people can go in.
Would you queue
So
for that,
you'd have
Dennis?
to be waiting
I'd
like
do it.
an hour.
Titanfall is
Exactly.
You'd have to be
awesome,
waiting
dude.
an hour.
I love Titanfall.
Exactly. Oh.
And me and Tom aren't the best at that game yet.
Well, to be fair,
I
Ewan,
am
I don't know if
badass
you've
at
played
Titanfall.
it, and Tom, you've played it for like
I
what,
have.
2 games at my house. And to be fair, Tom did alright. He killed like 3 people.
Oh,
not
pretty
a
much.
huge
You're good at
amount,
it.
but
You'll be
You
amazing at
murderer! Won't be long till he makes his frag videos.
Okay, so do we have any other topics to talk about while we've got a little bit left?
well, my
No, we
topic went into Ewan's, and I think you had one more, something to do with the S5 or something.
Oh yeah, we got the S5. Has anyone else got any other thing we want to talk about before we go on to that?
I'm good.
I'm good as well.
Okay, we may as well move
I'm
on.
fine.
then.
Can you give me a link, or do you want me to just Google S5?
Yeah, probably just Google it. It's just going to be the same link that I gave you. So yeah, we've got the Galaxy S5 that's been released, fairly recently. Now this has got some of the the groundbreaking tech that's going to be into phones. Now this has come a long way from, I don't know if you guys can remember sort of the HTC Hero and stuff like that was the first sort of Android phone. Now we've got the sort of Samsung Galaxy S5, which is got stuff like a heartbeat sensor. Now I don't know if that's definitely needed in the phone itself, because yes, okay, we're getting more stuff like with gear and stuff, we're tracking our health, but would you guys use your heartbeat sensor in your phone? Well, I doubt it, and it's probably something that's not going to be used that much. I don't know. It looks quite good, and it's got the whole I think if it should have the 13 megapixel camera, which for a phone is good, very good. And you've got stuff like it's gonna be a very powerful phone. Now my phone, I think it's got a quad-core processor. I mean, I can run games, no problem. But the phone I find gets hot. Now I don't know if that's the same problem with the Samsung Galaxy S5.
It's same with all of them.
But I'm not sure. This
Every phone gets hot.
every phone gets hot. But did you feel mine when we were on the bus when I was playing that game? It was getting
Yeah,
it was
was
getting hot.
extremely hot.
Yeah, so I don't know where things are going with that, but it's a very, very nice phone, and it's just been released recently, and it's it's exciting. I don't know about the specs to it, guys. Let's have a quick look. Let's have a look. So you've obviously got your it's fully waterproof, which is IP67, I think so. I think 67 is the right one. Yes, so it's fully waterproof, so you're completely protected against dust and water. So unlike my phone, I think where it's got like the back on it, I think you've got some sort of technology that's preventing it from being water damaged. But again, I'm not sure if the limited warranty that comes with the device, is actually covered by moisture or water damage. This could be because you're not taking the relevant precautions to be able to prevent it. Like with my phone, I've got the S4 Active. For my phone to be submerged, it needs to have the USB cover sealed and the back to be on properly, and that's probably why it's not covered in the warranty. But I don't know about the S5. The S5, I can imagine, would be the same sort of thing. You've got to go to some sort of length, not lengths, but you've got to be able to go to some measures to be able to make sure that you're actually making the device waterproof. When I got my phone, and it's probably the same with this phone, you have to you can sort of read a manual on how to make your device, how to sort of put the back on properly, how to ensure. And I don't even know if the back comes off of this, and if it's IP67 waterproof rated, I can imagine that the back probably wouldn't come off. Now that can be sort of a downside with all devices if the back doesn't come off, which is something which I've veered away from Apple, because their devices, their back doesn't come off. If your battery corrupts or something goes wrong with it and it goes AOT, then you're going to have to pay a lot of money for this phone to be replaced. You can't just buy a new one. And will Apple honor it if it's out of your 1 year warranty? I don't know. Now, again, with the HTC One, I'm not just slandering Apple here, the HTC One doesn't have a removable back. Now, I don't know if this is definitely something that people prefer, not having the removable back, because you've got probably more parts that can break, more parts that you can replace. But on the other hand, you've got the stuff that you can swap and change whatever you like. And I'm not sure. I mean, if it is IP67, waterproof, dustproof rated, then I can imagine the back would possibly come off. I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you guys think about this whole new device?
Well, I think it's a good addition. Personally, I think it's going to cost a bit much, but the specs seem pretty good. At the end of the day, I'm more concerned about a phone that does its job, but I like my phone to have extra utilities as well.
Yeah.
If they can introduce some good utilities that serve like actual real life functions and purposes, I will gladly think about buying the phone.
It's nice. It's nice as long
definitely.
as it doesn't crash all the time. Like some apps where it will be over, it's more requiring than the actual phone can give. So it will just not work. So that's when it starts to get a little bit frustrating.
Definitely.
Exactly. And like when it comes to phones these days, it feels like they're getting really gimmicky, which is adding a massive price to them. You get, for example, with your phone, no offense, Tom, it has the waterproof side to it. Let's be realistic on how often you will need that waterproof. I mean, it's useful, say, if you just dropped it in a puddle or something, or
The only
it slipped in a bath.
The only
You
time
can
I've ever
use it in
seen
the
that
bathroom.
water, the only time I've ever seen Tom's phone submerged in water is when Tom's deliberately done it.
Yeah.
Just to test
Yeah.
it.
Exactly.
I've never
It's-
seen that.
It's a gimmick that could possibly
it was-
add an extra £50 to the price, and I just feel
Yeah.
like that is how phones are becoming. I mean, they now have the HTC One M8 that's quite a new phone that's just come out, and that's like £530, and it's a ridiculous amount of money for something that your main use is going to be receiving calls and sending texts.
On the topic
For-
of
Yeah, go on.
on the topic of gimmicks, it's kind of related. My friend has a guitar that is modelled after another guitar. Okay, its brand isn't very known. However, it has all the same features and the same specs and everything. And when he compares it to the real brand, because his one's a copy, his one's like a fake sort of. And when he compares it to the real brand, his sounds better than the actual real brand according to different accounts. Yet the real brand costs about £1,000, £1,200. His only cost him £250. So I think the whole gimmick thing here is definitely related to brands as well. Apple like to overcharge a lot because it's Apple.
more about
Definitely.
Yeah.
just because of the product name, and it's only rarely and sometimes when designer stuff is actually better. But yeah, it's mostly just because of the name that you're paying for.
Definitely, it's definitely the name that you're paying for, and that's how much of that are you paying for into the S5? I don't know. The S5 is priced at a big price mark. Again, with a lot of the tech coming up, you need a big wallet to be able to afford this stuff. This is priced about £430 to £450, depending on where you buy it. Now, you could obviously spread that over a time if you're going to pay a certain amount per month with a SIM, and you're on a contract. But at the end of the day, you're going to be paying a lot of money out for this phone. Now, whether or not it's worth it, is it any better than the S4? I don't know, because they've added a few extra features, and it's been released very, very quickly after.
Yeah.
But and I don't know why that is, because obviously there's a big market and there's a big competition out there. But did they need to release it that quickly after the S4 or the S4 Active? Maybe it's to compete with other things like the iPhone 5S and C and the iPhone 6, which is to be rumored to be released. The way Apple are churning things out, probably next week.
We have an
But-
interesting sort of reference to you here, Tom. Grubscrew says, "I've been gone for a while. How have you discussed how the S5 is horrible to take down?" I asked in what way, and he said, "You can take the back off easily enough, but it's a nightmare to repair yourself." Apparently.
So, for example, if your battery was to go corrupt on the phone, and stuff like this does happen. If you've got a device where the back doesn't come off, then you're going to have to pay for it, however much it's going to cost you to be sent off, repaired, and you're probably going to get some new one, or you're going to need to buy tools that can somehow, I'm not sure, probably get the back off the phone. But with a device that you can get the back off the phone, you can just swap and change something like that. That's probably the main reason, because if, say, the phone freezes, and the only way that you can get it to reboot, because if you were to do a dirty shutdown on a PC, hold the off button, pull the power out, something like that, that's the way you can do it. But on a device, if that freezes, you've got to wait for it to die. Now, in this, you can pull the battery, and obviously that's another plus side of why I've never really gone for devices that don't have a removable back, because if it does freeze and if it does go AOT, then you're going to need some sort of fail safe, some way out. And I hope that answers your question.
Another question from Grubscrew. What about the potential of future phones locking you out of the OS at the hardware level, i.e. the inability to flash a custom ROM?
Okay, so now we're talking about rooting and ROMing phones. Well, if you want to be able to root and ROM these phones, what was the question again?
What about the potential of future phones locking you out of the OS and at the hardware level, i.e. the inability to flash a custom ROM?
I don't know where that's going. I mean, people and the developers, the people that make the phones, obviously don't like you flashing a custom ROM. And for the people that don't know, this is, for example, jailbreak. I'm sure you've all heard of it. It's changing what's there. Now, this obviously voids your warranty and stuff like that, which, some people would say it's worth it. But locking you out at a hardware level from, inability to flash the custom ROM, that would mean sort of having sort of your SD card, sort of in the phone itself. I don't know, would that be worth it? I don't know. You're going to lose a lot of potential customers, because I bought my phone knowing that if I ever get bored of my OS of my phone, I'm going to ROM it. And, I'm sure there are plenty of people that will, and that have done. And that's probably, that's customers lost if you are doing that. And I don't think that the way that phones are going, they're not going to like you to do it, but they're not going to stop you from doing it, because, you're going to lose customers, and they're going to go to people elsewhere that are going to openly, freely ROM, root, and the phone to whatever you want it to be.
I mean, on a similar note, to Grubscrew's question, that Nintendo recently released a new handheld device. I forgot exactly which one it was now. I think it was the 3DS XL or the 3DS or the 2DS, one of those. And usually you are able to sort of hack and flash the sort of ROM on it, but the new 3DS and the 2DS, you can't do that. You can't flash it anymore. Nintendo don't want you doing that. They got all butthurt about that. So now the phones could be taking the same direction, which is fair, because they don't want you tinkering with it. But you are going to lose.
They don't want you tinkering with it. They are going to lose customers though, and whether or not it's worth the risk, the majority of people that buy phones, aren't going to actually know about the whole flashing the custom ROM. They're going to want it to send a tweet or whatever. And it can do that, and it's the latest phone, and they're just going to pay for it. That's fine, and honestly, that's okay. But for people like me, would I look for a phone elsewhere if I can flash it and I can ROM it and root it? Yes, I would. I would really consider it, because locking me out of the phone at a hardware level would really annoy me. Like, just because I've got the inability to do whatever I want with the phone. It's my phone. Why shouldn't I be able to do what I want with it? And I guess that's probably what the makers of the phones and the people can't see, because if I've spent £400-500 on this phone, I'm going to be able to do what I want with it at my own risk, and I think that's something that they need to really seriously consider. But I don't know how long. I don't know, Dennis, how long do we have left
sorry to
now?
cut you guys off. We have around 2 minutes left of your subject, and then we're going to have to start wrapping it up.
Well, I think Tom's about finished anyway, so...
Yeah, I'm about finished now. That answers Grubscrew's question. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess we can just say thank you for watching, everybody. This has been our first podcast ever.
Yeah, that was good.
Please, this will be uploaded to YouTube after this, maybe in an hour or two. It should be up. And please leave comments and let us know how we did. Let us know what we can do better next time, etc.
Give us ideas of what you guys think.
This show will be live every Sunday from 3 till 5 or half 3 till 5, depending on when Tom can get out of work.
Yep.
So yeah, this has been RTFM, and let's just do the shout-outs quickly. So our Twitter, if you want to follow us on Twitter, is RTFM Radio. Same with Facebook, which is /RTFM Radio. YouTube is /RTFM Radio. And the Twitch, because you're already here.
Okay, so I know we've got some...
Can we give shout-outs
from some people?
Shout-outs to other people as well, yeah, sure.
So, I've got a few requests from shout-outs from Abby, Abby, Rosie, and Isla. They've been wanting shout-outs for a little while, so there you are, guys.
Wow.
I want to give shout-outs to Larval Extract and Grubscrew for watching and being funny. Also a shout-out to Shanks.
Thank you, Speedy Duck.
Thank you, Speedy Duck. Yeah, and that's deep stuff.
Yeah. I'm just gonna be that person. I'm gonna give a shout out to myself. I also do YouTube, guys. So if you want to check out my channel, it's youtube.com/DinaBean13, and my Facebook is also /DinaBean13, and my Twitter is @DinaBean13. So if you're interested in gaming content, then please go check me out. I don't know if you guys want to say anything about yourselves too, but that's up to you.
I need to take a massive crap.
No, if you haven't, so do I, mate. If you haven't liked our Facebook page already, it's if I can find it, it's give me a second. Put in RTFM Radio into the search bar, and it should come up.
www.facebook.com/RTFM Radio, no spaces.
There we are. Facebook.com/RTFM Radio. Give us a like, post on the wall, tell us what you think. You know, let us know. Give us ideas so we're not in the dark about what you guys want. Give us ideas for us to talk about next time.
Email all complaints to Dennis.
Yeah, if you want to email any complaints, it's dennis.dean03@gmail.com, and
oh my god,
I'll handle them in a good manner.
Okay, yeah. So should we wrap things up there, guys?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much wrapped
good.
up. Like we say, just let us know what we need to do better. If you want to be amazing, then please just share our Facebook page, or in fact share the stream whenever we go live with your friends. That would greatly help us, and the more views the better, I guess. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. This has been RTFM. Do you guys want to say goodbye?
Goodbye.
Get lost.
Alright, see you guys
What
later.
the hell?
Bye.